Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. So a guy tweets to me a graphic of Warren and Dolezal. And the graphic read, so an Indian and an African walk into a bar. Nah, it was two white women, two leftist white women. And so, which is funny. It's very funny. So I tweeted back at Hillary Clinton, and then it reads, an Indian, an African, and a dude walk into a bar. Nah, it's just three white leftist women. And it got a huge response on Twitter. And, you know, of course, very clever. I would give myself a hand. But what got me was that how people got it. The idea that you can be a fake Indian, you can be a fake black woman, you can be a fake dude. And so then I decided to have a little bit more fun. So I retweeted it adding Bruce Jenner, you know, an Indian, an Indian, an African, and a woman. No, and Bruce Jenner walk into a bar, and I go, nah, it was just three white women. I had to take leftists out because Caitlyn is not a Democrat, supposedly. But anyway, it got a bigger response. And this is what I love about Twitter. It's so instant. It's practically like doing stand-up. And if you've ever followed me on Twitter, which I'm at Kevin Jackson TBS, you'll be thrilled to death because I really enjoy going after leftists. I don't have many on my site, but I'll go after them. And you know who I'm really targeting right now? I'm targeting the rhinos. These are the people that want you to believe that they are conservatives as they fight tooth and nail against Donald Trump over nonsense. Oh, he's not presidential enough. Look at what he's doing on Twitter. They're saying the same things about Donald Trump today that they did prior to the election, post-election, etc. He just doesn't do this. He doesn't strike me as being this or that. Oh, I so wish we had class in the White House. And I'm thinking to myself, really? Class in the White House versus a guy who is performing at phenomenal. I mean, honest to goodness, if I believed it, I would tell you. If I had any research to tell you differently, I'd tell you Donald Trump has undoubtedly had the best first year as a president of probably any president in modern history. And I'm not going to tell you I'm a historian. Check with Newt Gingrich. But I will tell you from a personal perspective, if you are against this guy, you got to be out of your mind. This is rock star status. We'll talk about the stock market here in a bit. How many records can you set in a year? I mean, if you want to compare year one of Donald Trump to year one of Barack Obama, you are insane. And even when you look at progress over the next 8 years, it's going to be mind-blowing what a person who understands politics can do. And let me tell you why this is all happening, people. Because there are many people afraid. Kevin, can it last? Oh my gosh, what? Let me tell you what. The amount of waste in government, the amount of fraud, graft, theft that happens in this government every single day is enough to run entire nations. I'm not exaggerating that. That's why you're seeing such success. You're watching Trump literally dismantle government into pieces. Now, what I don't like is I don't like the budget. It's too big. $4 trillion. My only hope is that he grows it to shrink it because the left they'll take advantage of this. But let me tell you, by exposing the amount of waste and fraud, if he does this correctly, he'll be able to shrink his budget, cut it in half, get it down to $2 trillion, still have the productivity coming into the nation that we expect, and you're going to watch one of the most prosperous periods in our lives. And it's only because you're watching somebody that's saying, I've got my eye on every nickel and every dime. And we're going to talk about the CFFB and how I talked about this. I don't know. It's probably been a couple years ago on the show where I said Barack Obama uses your tax dollars to prop him up, to effectively create fake news, to finance their campaigns. He has used this government in ways that are going to blow your mind. You're going to be mad about it. So we have that. But what the theme of the show is going to be today, and by the way, for you newbies, this is the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. If you want to chime in, 844-551-8255. And we will take some people who called in and talk about what they wanted to discuss during the broadcast today. But the theme is going to be identity theft. Identity theft. And that's why I started out with the joke of the graphic of Elizabeth Warren and Rachel Dolezal. See, the left like to steal identity. This is the world we live in. We live in a world where people are little more than identity thieves. In fact, I'll go a step further. The left are so bad, they don't want their own identities, so they fabricate them. I've talked to you guys about this. I will talk about this until the day I die. And it's a thing that I would tell you from my first book, what I learned about myself, what I've told my kids. Be who you are. Know who you are and be who you are. That's the only thing that will save you in the future. I'm talking about now and in the future. But in this day and age where people can Photoshop you, they can digitally record you and move things around, they can make you look like whatever they want you to. The only survival mechanism you have is you better know who you are, you better be who you are, and surround yourself with people who are willing to say, that's not who he is. I know him 100% or 99.99%. I've talked about it from a psychological perspective. Death, there's a saying, when a person dies, a library burns. And it's true. We all have this knowledge base that we've accumulated over the years, and it's sad when that library burns. But the thing that makes us really take death badly, like your mother dies, your father dies, that's the person who knows you the best. And admittedly, I get teary at anybody's funeral, but I don't feel sad. You know what? My sadness is that the people around them have lost somebody who really knows them. That's my feeling. And my tears and my sadness comes from a kid who lost his mom early in life, the person who theoretically knew me the best at that point, but didn't get to know me. When my grandmother died, I was super sad because she's the person that knew me the best. She knew my true identity. That's who you gravitate to. So I want to talk about that. Why do we steal? Why do the left? Why do they steal identities? And you'll understand why.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville. Can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. RacePimping.com is where you can get my book. And let me tell you, you will do yourself a favor. My book will give you clarity you've never had, and you'll have lots of laughs. I promise you, if you don't have at least 5 belly laughs, then I've written a terrible book. And I'm talking about you probably have 50, but minimum 5. That's the guarantee. It's printed right there on the box. Not to go all Tommy Boy on you. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. Oh, my goodness. The theme of the show today is identity thieves, because that's what the left are. And I started out talking about Elizabeth Warren. I talked about Rachel Dolezal. And you could go on. I mean, the identity thief of Barack Obama. There is no better identity thief than this man. A guy whose name was Barry Soetoro. I almost said Soros. Barry Soetoro. And he knew that in order for him to get ahead, he had to have some allure, changes his name to Barack Obama, and adapts this fake identity. Nobody knows who he is, and I'll go into that in more detail, but I want to just talk about some of the things we are going to be discussing, and that's one. Matt Lauer, he's under fire. Went under fire a couple days ago because of sexual harassment charges. Apparently, there was a lawsuit filed against NBC and him. And I don't know the details. They won't release the details. But I played a clip yesterday of Tucker saying, hey, Tucker got accused of rape. And he didn't let anybody know until he was able to definitively say, this isn't me. And it cost him a lot of money. Well, Matt Lauer, he's under fire. I don't consider that stuff news except for the fact that it's part of the overall scheme of things with the left. You've got Harvey Weinstein, you've got Kevin Spacey, a host of other Holly weirdos that are shaking like Chihuahua's about to pass a watermelon, and they're scared to death. You've got politicos out there, you've got Conyers, you've got Franken, and a host of others they're going, please don't release that list. It's got the $17 million that you've spent, that we've paid for to cover up for their graft. You've got Grijalva, I think that's his name, Grijalva, Juan Grijalva, I think's his name. He's the latest guy with a slush fund that paid somebody off because he's such an ogre to work for. You've got Conyers, who had his slush fund. How many other slush funds? How many people didn't go through the Office of Compliance in order to take, to have their sexual dalliances and what have you paid off by the taxpayer? So we've got the ones who did it, and we have record of them. And as the people who pay the bills, I say there should be no question we should be able to see that. But anyway, Matt Lauer's under fire because it's not only Hollywood, it's the media. There was a guy at the New York Times. He was fired for the same reason. And he's taking young reporters and getting them drunk or using that as his excuse to grope them and offer sex or whatever. Now look, girls and guys going out in the workforce, and the guy says, hey, you want to go out sometime? Sure. Or no, don't ask me again. I get it. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast these days. But now, if you ask somebody out, I'm presuming it's considered sexual harassment unless they really dig you. And that's all. And then if they really dig you for a little while, it's cool. But when they no longer dig you, well, then it's sexual harassment all over again. So, guys, the world is changing in that regard. Anyway, so we'll talk about Matt Lauer being under fire. He's married to a Swedish model. I would be like, what? Check her out. Look at my wife. What are you talking about? Anyway, we got a lot to discuss on Elizabeth Warren because let me tell you something. You are figuring out, and I knew this a long time ago. People are, Kevin, Elizabeth Warren's probably going to declare Hillary's under fire. I said Elizabeth Warren is not going to run for president and challenge Hillary. It won't happen. How are you so sure? I said because Elizabeth Warren has more skeletons in her closet, and they're not Native American skeletons, okay? She's afraid. She's not running for president. And I'm going to tell you something else. I said this the other day. Elizabeth Warren not only didn't run for president, she never will. If you are I'm going to save you some time, leftists. Don't donate money to her presidential campaign. Don't donate money to her presidential campaign exploratory committee because she will never run for president, nor will she ever be president of the United States. It will not happen. End of story. So you can take that to the bank. Monica Lewinsky has a message for an upcoming special that's centering around her and former President Bill Clinton. They're calling it the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Now, the reason why I bring this up in the context of identity theft is because that's completely wrong, what they call this, the Monica Lewinsky scandal. See, this is out of the USA Today, and it's Hollywood doing what it does best. It's still protecting the Clintons. See, it's not the Monica Lewinsky scandal. She didn't get impeached. She was in I'm not going to say she was an unwilling participant because that certainly wouldn't be true. But she's, a casualty of the situation. The real situation is exactly what we've described, what I've been describing, the lie of the left. See, the left wanted you to believe that the Clintons were this down-home country family, and Bill Clinton's a good governor, and he just wants to do the best for America, and he's going to come on and run, and he's got this really supportive, beautiful wife that's really smart, and all they want to do is help America. That is a lie. This was a scheming couple, a political couple in a political marriage who didn't care who they mowed over in order to get what they wanted. And even to this day, they've trained the population, the populace, the people, the folks at the media. They've trained them. Don't make it about us. This isn't the Monica Lewinsky scandal. This is the Bill Clinton scandal. This is the Clinton family, the Bill and Hillary scandal. But it in no way, Monica Lewinsky, for all intents and purposes, could have just been blank, like Roe v. Wade. The real lady in the whole abortion thing. They never used her real name. That's what this could be. But they make it about Lewinsky because it deflects off of who it really is about. It's truly identity theft in the way of this particular situation, because you're not people aren't going to be going the Bill Clinton scandal, the Bill Clinton impeachment scandal, because that's what it was about. A guy deciding that he lied to us, by the way. He lied publicly multiple times. I had no affairs with Hillary. And Hillary's,
well, these are women that just really want to go after my husband. My husband.
She was lying. Lied on major TV interviews over and over again, knowing the allegations against her husband. And they have the nerve to call this show the Lewinsky scandal. This is the Bill Clinton impeachment scandal. Period. And that's what Lewinsky said in a tweet. She's like, this isn't about me. Poor girl. Hope she can get on with her life. Keep it here, folks. Lots to talk about.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. The Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
All my friends are white, man, and it's tough because they always try to categorize me. Last week, my friend's like, hey, man, you're Indian, right? I'm like, that's right. So you're from India. I was like, way to go, Steve. He's like, all right, India's in Asia. I guess that makes you Asian. I was like, nah, man, Asians are Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, all the Neeses. He's like, all right, you're not Asian. I guess that makes you Middle Eastern. I was like, whoa, Asian it is. Take it easy, buddy. And I was like, do we have any Middle Easterners here tonight? Good. Because it only takes one, right?
Funny stuff, good stuff. Love comedy because it people are telling you their thoughts in their humor, and I love that. And here's what was so cool about that particular set is here's a guy, that's making fun of his heritage, right? But he knows who he is. I'm Indian, but they jokingly say, well, you're Middle Eastern, and he go, no, I'll go back to being Asian, which of course he is. India is in Asia. Anyway, I love that stuff, and I love talking about this stuff, and I wish, it's God's plan. I hope to be able to talk about this stuff openly and honestly. In fact, I was on Fox News Radio, Todd Starnes show, and we were talking about this very topic. Well, we were talking about it in terms of black identity. And black identity is a strange thing because, there are black people that say, Kevin, you're not black. And I'm like, why? Because you don't think this way. Really? So we have a way that we think that makes us black. And it's so ridiculous on so many levels. And I want to explore that because I could blow gaping holes into all of their theories. And that's what I want to do. But we've been talking about identity theft, and the question I would like to ask the audience is this. Why steal somebody's identity? Okay? And I'm asking you, because people do that. I'm the victim of identity theft. It took a lot of money and time to get my stuff all corrected. But if you've had your identity stolen, it's a harrowing deal. I mean, I got stopped in a traffic stop and got arrested. Taken to the jail. Popo was like, who are you? I'm Kevin Jackson. I'm in a suit taking my kid to school. And I get arrested. It's like, whoa. So I firsthand, I got a chance to see it. I was there. I was detained for, 2 or 3 hours before my attorney comes down and, has a bunch of paperwork, says this is who this guy is. But anyway, he gets me out and I'm mad. They've wrinkled my suit. I'm late for meetings. My day was packed. I mean, I'm calling my office going, I make my one phone call to my attorney and say, call the office and tell them to cancel this meeting. And, while he's working on getting me out. But anyway, I get arrested for it. And then they tell me, well, Kevin, we know it's not you, but on your record is a guy who killed somebody. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. And I go, well, then take it off. I say to the cops, I'm in Plano, Texas. I tell them, take that off my record. And they go, well, we can't. I go, what do you mean you can't? It's not me now. He goes, yeah, but it doesn't work like that. It's got to be done officially. So it took a lot of time, energy, and money. And it went through a bunch of other stuff too. Couldn't get, credit for this or that. It was bizarre. So I just want you to think about that. Waking up one day and electronically, people think you're somebody else. Or they don't know who you are. So whether it's the police, whether it's your bank, one of the major reasons for identity theft is to steal your bill, for medical. If I want to go in and have Cadillac health care, I'm going to get, some leftist identity because, they're going to have the best. They're the ones that get the golden parachute health care. You don't want mine. Promise you that. But that's the reason people were stealing health care. I got to go in and get $100,000 surgery. I don't have the money for it. My identity theft, I'm good. Woo, yeah, I'm so-and-so, so-and-so. So that's what they would do. Now, you got to be careful because still the wrong identity, still Charlie Sheen's identity, and that could open up a whole other can of worms. But I want you to think about identity theft as it translates to politics, where your nation's identity has been stolen. That's what I want people to understand. Over the past few decades, the identity of this country has been stolen. And it's funny because technically it hasn't been stolen. It's been taken over, right? Because there is no other country that can steal the identity of America. America's unique. But what can happen to America is somebody says, you're no longer America. We're going to make you different. So we've got a new identity. Now I'll ask you, I don't know how old you are in the audience, but you're all different ages. I know my demographics, people tell me. And most of you are over 40 years old, 35 years old. So look back in the decades of your life. If you're 35, you're on the cusp. But if you're 40, 50 years old, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And let me ask you this. What identity for America do you prefer? Do you prefer the identity of today? Or do you prefer the identity, not today under Trump? Let's say the identity that Trump inherited through Barack Obama. Or do you prefer the identity that America had when you were growing up as a kid? I know what I would prefer. I prefer the identity that said a little poor black kid growing up on a big ranch in Texas that's from the city, whose mother died and father was in prison, can grow up to be anything he wanted. And people told me this when Barack Obama got elected president. Kevin, I just never thought that would happen in my life. And I was thinking to myself, I never thought that it wouldn't. There's not a time I grew up, from the moment I was able to conceive a thought, that I thought a black man wouldn't be president. I never even envisioned. I mean, if you had said to me, and the black man ain't never going to be president, I would have been like, that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. That's what I would have said at the age of 5. So people were all excited. Woo! See, because I knew the identity of this nation. I knew that this is a nation that overcomes the worst of its character. The Democrats who decided to make people cattle, that you could own a person, which is the worst of a man's character, that I can own you, I can dominate you. That's why I can't. A rapist to me is like, what? Why? The idea of dominating somebody because you're stronger or because they're in a vulnerable position. That's exactly what happened, by the way, with Al Green. Congressman Al Green, member of the Congressional Black Caucus. He has a staffer who's got a drug problem. And the staffer, instead of getting her help, he takes advantage of it, goes into a sexual relationship with a woman who's got a drug problem, probably providing her drugs on your dollars through some mechanism. I guarantee you he didn't pay for it. Ends up in a sexual relationship with her. Then when she says, look, I want out and this is not good for anybody, he then threatens that he'd expose that she's a drug addict so she wouldn't be able to work, etc. That's the kind of representation Al Green gives to his constituents. The same way he treats somebody to whom he wants to share himself with. He will treat his constituents identically the same, like crackheads, like crack prostitutes. Now, contrast that with Donald Trump. Donald Trump found out that the woman who got crowned Miss something, whatever pageant he ran. I don't remember whether she was Miss America, whether she was one of the contestants, but he found out she had a cocaine problem. I think she had the crown, if I'm not mistaken. He said to her, I'm going to send you to rehab so you can get better. He didn't fire her. He didn't take her crown away. He quietly sent her to rehab for her to get herself well and then resume her activities as Miss America or whatever pageant he runs. I don't keep up with that kind of stuff. But the story's real. Go research it for yourself. Now, Donald Trump is called a misogynist. He'll grab women by the blankety blank. Well, let me tell you something. He was around beautiful women, and in this particular case, he finds out that this girl's got a drug problem. And people with drug problems are very vulnerable. They are willing to do a lot to get their drugs. They're willing to do a lot not to, especially at her level, not to expose themselves, publicly and their problems and things like this. And Donald Trump didn't look at her situation in a situation of weakness. He said, let's get you help. That is not a misogynist. That is not somebody who's looking to take advantage of women. That is a loving, caring person who said, you know what? I get it. And let me tell you why I think that's even doubly important. It's because Donald Trump's brother was an alcoholic, and Trump said his brother, I think his brother's name was Fred. He said he was my idol, but he had a problem with alcohol. So he understood it. I just want to make a contrast for you on identities. See, the left wants you to have an identity of Donald Trump. They want to paint an identity on him the same way they've painted that identity on this great country. They want you to hate it. They want you to believe that you've done nothing but bad things to people when it's far different. Know who you are and be proud of it.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. And we are talking about identity and identity theft specifically because America's identity has not been stolen because nobody can steal America's identity. We are unique in our identity. If Canada tried to say, hey, hello, we're America, people would go, you ain't America. Get your little booty out of here. What you talking about? You know, if Germany said, we're American, people would go, yeah, ain't no American. Germany, get out of here. Go back to where you're from. We would know right away. Japan, we are American. We know. Come on now. Come on, Japan. You can't sneak up and do that. What, Russia? Could Russia usurp America's identity? Of course not. There's no country that could become America. Name me the country. Oh, Kevin, China's really... China what? China what? What? We kick your butt, China. Don't make us come after you. You know, look, we are uniquely American, but the left has done a very good job of bringing this new identity to America. Multiculturalism. We need to be more Arab, and we're not a Judeo-Christian nation. We're a Judeo-Christian Muslim nation. Nonsense. It's not how we were founded. Our ideals as Americans differ so dramatically from those of Muslims. It's ridiculous. Look, if you want to be a Muslim in America, congratulations, but you will have to conform to us, not the other way around. But we've allowed that. Battered woman syndrome. Wait till your husband gets home, your abusive husband, and then say, is it okay to be happy? What should I feel? I heard a lady talk about this on one of these talk shows, and she said, when I didn't know how to act. I didn't know what my emotion needed to be until my husband came home and I saw what he was. If he was happy, I was happy. If he was mad, I had to be mad. I had to mimic his reaction. That's what we've done. Leftism has created this. And so you know what we got? We got a guy who in 2016, early on, said, I want America's identity back. It's been stolen. It's been tucked away. Not so much stolen, but beaten down to the point where we no longer know who we are. Make America great again. What's funny about that is people see that as product or, service or something. No, it isn't. Make America great again was meant to be a spirit. The spirit had been beaten out of America. Because Barack Obama was an abusive man. The leftists are abusive. That's what they do. They beat you down. And so you're watching all these battles waging right now. There is a war on men being waged by the left in a direct attempt to emasculate this country, to make men feel worse. Go look at the curricula at colleges and universities. Go look at how little boys aren't even called on in class anymore. There's a war against men. There is a war brewing against whites in this country. I'm not here as a black man to protect you. I'm here to protect you as a human being. I see a wrong, I'm going to talk about it. Go look at, if you don't think there's a war, go look at where your money goes in all this public education. How much of your tax dollars are being spent to tell black people you've been wronged and you're weak, and to tell white kids you had too much privilege and now it's time for you to give it up. Now, what could possibly come good from that in either direction? Black people feeling like, yeah, you owe me something. And white kids feeling like, oh, geez, I'm so sorry. By my birthright, I owe you something. That's just ridiculous, but we've allowed it. And I could go on. And so what happened was we get a guy that said, we're going to make America great again. We're going to give you a spirit that makes you understand that despite we not being perfect, we're good people. And the American spirit is the only thing that saves this world from destruction. I know it doesn't, Kevin, that's a bit of hyperbole. I have not overstated anything. It is America that saves the world from going into utter destruction. And that's why God shows favor to us. God shows favor to us because we understand, we're the group of people that maintain sanity in this crazy world, and we protect little Israel. And that's why we get favor. Because God could have easily turned his back on us in the time of Barack Obama and leftism. Anytime over the past 3 decades, God could have said, I'm leaving y'all alone. He did to a little degree. That's how we got Obama. That's how we got leftism. But maybe we had to go that far down the path in order to right ourselves. So all these wars are brewing. And everybody's talking about, oh, Donald Trump, he's the Antichrist, he's evil, he's this, he's that. And as their stock markets go up, as they go to their jobs, getting raises, and so on and so forth. Let me just tell you something. Why do you like Trump? You may like him because of the stock market, because your portfolio is going through the roof. Or he may make you feel safer than that black dude can make you feel. But I'll tell you what I like about him. I like that he's ordinary. I like that I forget that Donald Trump is a multi-billionaire. I like that I know who he is. And you know what I do? The same thing I do with all my friends and my family and anybody else I meet. I take the good with the bad. If you're going to be in my life, if I've decided you're going to be in my life, I take the good with the bad. You got one of those friends that you call up and you're like, hey, what's up? And they're like, oh, man. Yeah. Ooh. And you're like, oh, here it is. But you got to get through that 5 minutes before you finally, get something good out of him. Like, oh, yeah, man, I'm happy. And he's a friend. You know that. And you know that the phone call is going to be 5 minutes of, oh, man, my girl, all them kids, some crazy kids, my job. But you take it. You got a friend that, that has a habit you don't like. Whatever. But you take it. Because you go, no, I get it. The good with the bad. Leftists don't do that. They will jettison you so fast you don't even know what's going on. But here's my point to all of this, folks. You don't have to like everything that Donald Trump is about. Because that's true of everybody you know. That's true of your husband. That's true of your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids, your friends, your acquaintances, your work co-workers, cohorts, whatever. It's true of everybody you know. Say what you want about Donald Trump, but I will tell you this. He gives you real world. That's why people gravitate to him. Chuck Schumer the other day, he made a comment. Yeah, Donald Trump, he needs to be a president that's for doing things instead of just tweeting all the time. He hates tweeting. That's why I love that Donald Trump tweets. And you know why you love it? Because it's putting you in direct touch. How close can you get to the president? You can send a note on Twitter to Donald Trump. You may not know if he gets it directly or whatever, but that's as close as you get. How much of that do you think you could do with Obama? I mean, you had the same apparatus, but Obama, hey, we're going to tweet about, this went on today. Here you go. Take this little morsel. He didn't tweet to keep you necessarily in touch with him, understanding his feelings and emotions. He just said, here you go. Here's some information you need to know. I'm putting it out there, and there you go. And that's it. It wasn't a two-way street. With Trump, he's liable to retweet you. If it's the right, something he once said, he's liable to. Anyway, he's a real world dude. You feel like you know him. Even if you don't like him, you know him. Sometimes that's a good thing. You're like, man, I don't like that dude. Why can't? Well, because he does this, that, and the other. And then people go, but look, that's just the way he is. How many times I have more respect for going, look, that's who he is, period. I may not want to hang out, may not like him, but I'll go, I know him. Ask that question about Obama. Few people truly know him, and they won't know him. His life will be a glossed over secret even long after he's dead. The left don't want you to know Obama any more than they want you to know them. If you don't believe me, look at the cover-ups. Look at the payouts. Payouts made to cover up the things that they don't want you to know about him. Conyers paying somebody off. Why? Because he doesn't want you to know that somebody didn't like his behavior in the office. Now there's more allegations against him. Al Franken, we get the real nature revealed of who he is. Look at Weinstein. What did he do? He put on a great public face. I'm not talking about his actual looks, but in terms of what he wanted you to believe him to be as a person, it was amazing what he did. Conyers, Violence Against Women's Act. Matt Lauer. I don't know what he did, but he's in the news. We'll talk about him here in a bit. But they want you to believe something about them that's not true. Look, I'm not going to, I tell people all the time, I'm not going to hit on you. I may say, hey, that's a pretty dress, or you know what, you are really pretty. But I'm not hitting on you. If that's, I've been told this too. You can't even say that. You can't say, I really like your hair. Ooh, he just made a proposition. You know what? If that's the case, nobody's safe. But you'll know my nature, and my nature is I'm not gonna, there's nothing I'm gonna do to you that that I wouldn't do in front of other people.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. The Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Be careful who you call an icon. Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. Nancy Pelosi referred to John Conyers as an icon. This isn't news. No, that part's not news. You know that. But here's what I'll tell you about these icons of the left. If you want to know what the left really stands for, look no further than the people they call their icons. John Conyers is an icon to Nancy Pelosi. Now he's embroiled in a sex scandal where he used taxpayer money to pay off his accuser. For Democrats, people, that is a scandal of idol proportion. Why not make him an idol? He not only indulged himself sexually with some other woman. Remember, he sponsored the Violence Against Women's Act. But not only did he do that, he took your money to pay her off. That is what Democrats do. He is indeed an icon. Let's even make him an idol. He held a powerful position on Capitol Hill as the top Democrat on the Judiciary Committee for a decade, and he's been sexually harassing women. He's risen to almost the top of his field, and he's a lecherous old fool. I'm so glad you're with me today. I love talking about these clowns, these morons. And they think of themselves as the intellectuals. They think of themselves as better than we because, I don't know, they went to Harvard or Princeton or they make more money than we do. Let me tell you what they've done, people. They have stacked the deck against you. They have made you believe that their identities are bigger and badder than yours. Better than yours, in fact. And the reason is they glorify their schools. They glorify their credentials. They even glorify their lecherous people. Just stop and think about that for a second. They glorify themselves in every way. They throw parties to talk about how great they are. Awards dinners over. We're just wonderful. Let's the 25th annual greatest congressperson, greatest leftist Democrat Congress award. How many of those awards have you gone to? You as an ordinary citizen. Let me ask you this. And, you've seen my body of work. You listen to my show. You know what I do. How many awards, I'm talking about Republican, Democrat, or any other, how many do you think I've gotten recognizing my body of work? 0. I'll just answer for you. And here's here's what's interesting about it. You know me 8-9 years ago. You didn't know me. I went from being an obscure management consultant to being somebody who is nationally known, and I've received not a single award. Now, I'm not vying for one. I'm just saying that, I don't put a whole lot into them because all they end up doing is sort of inflating your ego about something. But if you are going to give somebody an award, it would be, how about up and comer, fastest known, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm not going to, try to help people into figuring these things out. But what I will tell you is I've watched how the left do things, and it's a cycle that creates a bigger environment than what it is. And I've used Hollywood as an example of a bunch of people who make a ton of money to go out and play fake people. Then they go, hey, you know what? We should give ourselves awards of who plays other people the best. So then they do that. And then suddenly that award has more meaning in terms of how much money you get. Before you win an Emmy, an Emmy or an Oscar, you're just kind of a middle-of-the-road person. But the minute you win that, then suddenly you're an Academy Award winner. It means something. You're a Tony winner. So, boop, your dollars jump up. Now, you could say, well, De Niro's a great actor. People go see him because of his acting. He gets awards, which means, to put it to you this way, take away all De Niro's awards, he's still a great actor. If you go see a film, you'll go, I like that guy, De Niro. Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't honor him in some way. I don't know. I'm not trying to tell people not to. I know when I was in sales, I certainly liked getting my Salesman of the Year award, but it was based on something. It was based on a number. Kevin hit quota. Everybody who hits quota gets this. How about this? Every actor whose movie makes money, doesn't lose money, they get this award. Every actor who makes this much money gets this, whose films really become blockbusters get this many awards. Actors who, are only making money in stand-in roles or what, I don't know. There could be a lot of things, but it doesn't have to be you win an Academy Award because you're such a dramatic actor. No, your films have to make money. How many films do you know that were box office bust? But they go, well, it didn't make as much money as this film, but we thought that the cinematography was amazing. Out of Africa, Beat the Color Purple. I don't know why one won over the other. I don't know how much money one made over the other, but I know this. Most of the people that I know that saw Out of Africa went, whatever. If you saw The Color Purple, that was an amazing film. Now, they were said to be snubbing Spielberg. Really? So your award has a snub factor. Then why is it an award? Leonardo DiCaprio hadn't won an Oscar for a long time. The big thing before he won was, will Leonardo win this year? Will Leonardo win this year? He's a great actor. But you know what? Had he not won, he just won recently, it wouldn't have mattered because we still go see him because he is a good actor. So they give themselves awards. He's making good money. He didn't need the award. It became almost superficial, like, well, okay, Leonardo got an award. Big deal. But he needed it. He wanted it. And then what's he do when he gets up there? Global climate change is an amazing thing, and we've got to address global climate change. Just tell you, man, their icons are amazing to me. Don't be surprised if you learn that Leonardo, fathered some African lady's baby and he doesn't want to pay for the thing, or Clooney did it, or Matt Damon did it, or whatever. They're lecherous people, and they make them into icons, and they've made Conyers into an icon. And now what do we have? We have a second person that's come out and said, no, he's a groper, a total groper. You got Franken who says, I know there are no words that can make you understand how sad I am about this. No, because your actions speak louder than your words, Al Franken. They're lecherous people. We're going to tell you about some things with the left and the reason why they don't want you to know who they are, which we're calling this particular episode Identity Thieves. But we're going to tell you a lot about them. We've already had an hour under our belt. We got another one coming up. You're listening to the Kevin Jackson Program. We'll be back.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. I gotta tell you, I love how Donald Trump handles his business. KJRadio.com is how we handle our business. 844-551-8255. So, Pelosi and Schumer were scheduled for a meeting at the White House. Now, here's before we get into that, let me just say this. So, Donald Trump has a meeting with Pelosi and those guys, and they hate him. And then he fights against the Republicans on some certain things, and he nuzzles up with the Democrats, and they're glad to get it done because they think, we're going to get him to come over our way. Yeah. So Schumer and those guys are all buddy saying, at least he's reaching out, whatever. Then the Republicans start coming back going, well, hold on a minute. Don't go befriending them when there's things for us to do. So you have this back and forth going on, and nobody knows on either side what Donald Trump is going to do. This is why this guy is truly genius in these negotiations. He's genius. And I'm saying this not, as a, this dreamy eyed, oh my God, look at Donald Trump. I'm just telling you, I'm watching this from just from an outsider perspective. I'm not a layman by any means, but an outsider perspective. I almost said layman. But you're looking at me like I'm crazy. I almost said it, but I didn't say it. I was trying to look for the right word. But from an outside perspective, looking at Donald Trump do what he does, he's completely noncommittal. The only thing that should give anybody a good feeling in any of this stuff, and I'm talking conservatives too, is that we know Donald Trump wants to do what's best for the country. That is my only saving, because you cannot predict this dude. You can't. He says something nice about you. Next thing you know, you're on blast on Twitter. He's like, bam, bam, Kevin Jackson, take that. Knee, an elbow to the crotch. And then 2 minutes later, he's picking you up going, yeah, Kev, hey, so you all right? You all right? You okay? Feel like, this mafioso dude that's like, don't kill him. Just hurt him. Let him know we're there, blah, blah, blah. Get him back, but I don't want him dead. Okay. Okay, boss. So he's roughing these people up. He's picking them up. He's brushing them off. He's roughing them up again. They don't know which way to look. And I love it. So Pelosi and Schumer get mad at Trump because of some tweets, and they cancel The meeting, we're canceling. We're not going to show up. So Ann Coulter tweets, Schumer and Pelosi represented at today's White House meeting by empty chairs, same as if they'd been there. Which makes me love Ann Coulter. I don't always agree with her, and many times I've been mad at her, especially when she went after Trump when he, post-election. I don't know what her feelings are now. And Ann is, in a strange way, a very good marketer, knows what to do with with what she's doing. And by the way, one of the most brilliant thinkers out there, whether you like her stuff or not, she's a brilliant thinker. But she tweets that I'm cracking up because what if Pelosi and Schumer think they're going to solve? What do they anticipate happening? Let me just go ahead and break it down for you, conservatives. Donald Trump will get his tax bill. Donald Trump will kill Obamacare. Donald Trump, and it isn't that he's like, he's a dictator. He's getting everything he wants. He's getting the sanity back into politics. We're going to discuss the CFPB. I think I called it CFFB earlier, but CFPB, which is this Consumer Fraud Protection Bureau. No, not the donkey, but the actual agency. And when you hear what I have to tell you about this agency, it's going to blow your mind, okay? What these guys have gotten away with. We've alluded to it in the past, so we'll be talking about that. But these big babies on the left crack me up. What do they think? They think we don't understand what's going on. Look, the only thing Pelosi and Schumer want is they want something that's going to take your money. It's going to fleece you. It's going to go to their constituents, and they're going to look good. That's their negotiation tactic, pure and simple. And Trump's, luckily, he says, I'm for truth. I'm going to make sure the American people benefit in whatever it is that we do. You don't want to show up? Fine. I'm going to get it done. And what's he do? Partisan, right down the line, tax cuts, goes through the Senate, the committee that it needed to get through on partisan lines. But the Republicans had the numbers. So it went through. It's going to go through. Schumer and Pelosi are going to get scraps on the table at best. And we're going to pretty much be happy. Now, I'm not happy with the tax bill because it rules out states that have income taxes. We can't deduct those income taxes off of our federal income taxes. But what it is it's a correction. And I understand the end game. I should be mad about that. I'm in a state, taxed in a state that has a state income tax. I should be mad, but I'm not. Because what he's doing is he's saying to the states, you have been using that as leverage in order, saying, okay, well, we're taxing you, but you write it off of your federal income tax, so you're getting it back there. And he's saying, no, you're not going to use that as leverage on your people in your state, because what is the end game for the state? How high can they go? Federal taxes are now at 39.4% or whatever it is. What could a state do? A state could say, you know what, let's go to 20%. I think the highest state income tax I'm aware of, I think it's 8%. But what if it goes to 12? What if it goes to 20? There is no limit. As long as you can deduct it from the Fed, the states go, well, look, you can deduct it from the Fed, so who cares? That's not doing the consumer any good. It's not doing the economy any good. So he's wrangling in the states with that. That's why it's so smart. Anyway, I'm willing to sacrifice that for the time being because it'll force the state staff to deal with this issue from a revenue perspective. And the states will look at, if they're smart, they'll say more money in the hands of our producers is going to spur better for the state. Just for the record, states without income tax do better than states that have income taxes. Look at the dichotomy between Texas and California, and couldn't be more clear. Look at the dichotomy between Texas and New York, and it couldn't be more clear. These states that tax the crap out of their people end up ultimately killing themselves, whether it's a minimum wage hike, which is nothing more than a tax. It's such a detrimental tax because it affects the people that need it the most. The minute you raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, you cut the money to fixed income people. You cut the money that they earn in half. If the minimum wage is $7.50 and you raise the minimum wage to $15, everything just doubled except people on fixed incomes. So you end up hurting the people that you want to help. But do you think leftists care? No, we're going to give everybody a minimum wage. Oh, except the people that are going to get hurt the most, the women and children, the old people on fixed incomes. And oh, by the way, there will be no training ground for youngsters because nobody's going to hire them. So these are the things that we deal with, the insanity of the left. And the left, I'm not going to show up at the White House because we're going to be dealing with real issues and we're going to be really impacting people with real legislation, things that work. Well, don't show up, empty chair.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. The Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here, talking about identity theft today on the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com, on demand 24/7 if you want to get the program, and of course you do. And you want to share it with your friends and your family, and also with those leftists, those wretched leftists. I hope you will share our program. And if you want, you can even call the show. In fact, you know what? Well, maybe we should do this now. A lady called the show, and she said to me that I'd gotten it wrong. Do you have that clip? Let's play her. Yeah, she says I got it wrong. So I want to see what she said.
Hi. I heard today you verbally and said that if somebody disagreed with you, well, you didn't care what they think. And I'm afraid I agree with you on this case. In this case, that if you don't agree with me, I guess I don't care what you think, at least on this one issue, which I've given a lot more thought than I ever had up till now, and have come to the obvious conclusion that it's males or men's obvious responsibility to protect women from unwanted pregnancies, and certainly not to, if a woman becomes pregnant, to deny her constitutional rights to choose and be forced through law or guilt to have not to have an abortion when she wants to end an unwanted pregnancy. And I've further thought that what are these conservative men, you and all the rest, why are you on this anti-choice thing? And you know pro-life is just a synonym for that, trying to hide what it really is. Why are you, of all people, on to absolving men of responsibility that is so obviously theirs? I agree with you that a boy's first, let's say, objective in life is to become a man. And when you become a man, you assume responsibility, right? And this ought to be the top of the list. And yet you all of you conservative speakers on radio belong to the same church or the same religion or the same club or something, that you all say the same thing. You imply that women are slutty and call them murderers if they simply choose their own destiny in life. Whether they make a mistake is up to them. They will pay the price. The men that I knew, and I know I'm in a different era than you, but all the men that were attracted to me and vice versa, they automatically assumed their responsibility for protecting me from unwanted pregnancies if we had sex. And all of a sudden now it's the conservative men who are absolving men of all ages from being responsible. We don't have any immaculate conceptions here. It takes a man to make a woman pregnant. It's obvious that it's his responsibility. I can't believe that you guys don't know this or have taken this. If a church has given you this idea that Jesus or God demands that women have babies whether they want them or not, I just can't believe it. And yet it sounds that way. So I know you won't pay much attention to this, but I just thought I ought to give you my opinion. Okay, Kevin, I still look forward to listening to you. Over and out.
All right, everybody. So a lot to cover there, and I love this. I love that, number one, we have a young lady who wanted to give this show a call, 844-551-8255, and she voiced her opinion. And she said this: I've given this more thought than I ever have. I love that, because maybe I inspired her to do that. See, that's what my role is as a host of this show, is to give you some inspiration, some reason to think. And her contention is, it is men's, and she says, this is definitive. It is men's obvious responsibility to protect women from unwanted pregnancies. Now, I'm not going to guess at the age of this young lady, but she's from a different era. She admits that. And I don't believe things have changed with conservative men and what we want to do to, quote, protect women. See, here's the thing. Women are not forced into a relationship with men. Women have the freedom of choice. She seems to be a pro-choice person. She called us anti-choice. I'll get to that in a second. But women are not forced into relationships with men. I mean, we don't live in, some Middle Eastern Muslim, society, patriarchal dominated society that says you will marry your first cousin and you will give him 10 baby boys or whatever. Women make their choice. You can choose men of character or you can choose scoundrels. And you pretty much know how. Generally, you're looking around, you're looking at your father, your grandfather. You look for characters of inside of men that you want to be with that mimic the things that you say, this is what I want in a relationship. So you're not being forced. So why is it the responsibility of a man, I would ask this young lady, to pick who you should be with? Because given that logic, that's essentially what she's saying. Kevin, you need to pick my man for me, and then he can have responsibility. Because last time I checked, you pick your own dude. I don't think anybody, outside of a forced sexual relationship, I don't think anybody's forcing women to, you will go out at that club, meet a dude that drinks too much and has no responsibility, have unprotected sex with him, and then he's the one responsible. No, you're responsible to avoid that guy. But here's where it gets a little interesting to me. She says that if you're not pro-choice, you're anti-choice. And I find that really interesting because, as I've said many times, I believe everybody is pro-choice. I also believe everybody is pro-life. And I would say to this young lady, whatever number of years she may have in life, she wants to finish it. And if I were to put a gun to her head and say, do you choose life right now or do I pull the trigger? She would choose life. Now, just because she doesn't choose life in the womb because of whatever circumstances were that created that life does not make her non-pro-life. She's just choosing the circumstances in which she's for life. If you're a thriving, individual, she probably chooses life. If you're a ne'er-do-well, who's, bent on destruction of people in person, she might say, you know what, get rid of that fool. I know I'm that way. There are many people I go, that sucker doesn't deserve to live. Bundy, Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer. So look, but being non-pro-choice, the antonym of that is not anti-choice, because I'm definitely pro-choice. You can choose whatever you do, but she says what we're doing on the right is we're absolving men of responsibility. Why? Because when a woman has an abortion, we're presuming she's a slut. That was her words, that women are slutty. I don't imply that. I do believe that the overwhelming majority of women who get abortions are women of ill repute. They aren't women that you go, oh, that's the person I want my son to marry. I know of a woman, my sister took me to a party. My sister said she's had 6 abortions. 6. I didn't even bother to ask by how many different guys. Now, I don't know what this young lady believes, but that to me is not the behavior of somebody who really takes the idea of life seriously. But the second part of it is what got me. She says we call women who get abortions murderers. Well, that may be an ugly word for her, but it is murder. It's pure and simple. I know when life begins, and I know if somebody sets out on taking it, that's what they're doing. Now, does it mean you're a bad person because you're a murderer? There are many murderers I respect. There are some murderers that I go, you know what? Congratulations for killing that fool. Battered women, people who've been abused in other ways and fight off their defenders or whatever. There are many murderers that are good murderers. So you don't take the word bad. It's just the word. It's a definition. But apparently what she's trying to say is old school men assume their responsibility. But the new school guys are absolving people of responsibility, and I absolutely disagree with her. I say guys like me, old school guys, we make a determination of who we want to have our children with, and we have them. And then we take care of them. I'm no Ray Ray with 14 different kids by 12 different baby mamas. See, that's an irresponsible person. Now, you could say, oh, Kevin, they should have aborted those. I mean, we can go into all kinds of iterations of this, but all I'm telling you is conservative men are responsible. They choose their mates more carefully. I'm not telling you we're perfect, but we choose our mates more carefully, and our mates are more discerning for who they choose. But one thing's clear. There is no such thing as anti-choice. And if you are indeed pro-abortion, which is the real situation here, you are committing murder.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. So we had talked earlier about the Democrats not showing up. This will be Schumer and Pelosi not showing up to meet with the president. And who knows what that's really about. I said earlier that the Democrats have no vested interest in America, no vested interest in you. The only interest that they have 100% is in themselves. So we've got this GOP tax overhaul. They, of course, Nancy and Chuck are mad because they aren't getting their piece. But in this thing, the Republicans essentially held together and they got this done. As one group wrote, Republicans held together and shoved their signature tax overhaul, a crucial step ahead Tuesday, as wavering GOP senators showed a growing openness. Now, I want to talk about that for just a second, the growing openness of these GOP senators, because I want you to know you've got Flake, who's flaked out. You've got Corker, who's flaked out. You've got John McCain, the Maverick, who's been flaked out. Brain damage of McCain. And you've got others like Murkowski and a few others that are rhino senators. They've been rhinos from the day we've known them. And suddenly, the Republicans held together. Now, they go on to say this, but its fate remained uncertain, and a planned White House summit aimed at averting a government shutdown was derailed when President Trump savaged Democrats and declared on Twitter, "I don't see a deal." So that's what derailed Nancy and Chuck, they're like, well, if he doesn't see a deal and he's going to tweet about it, then we're not going to meet. And, blah, blah. And President Trump's like, fine. He tweeted about it. What's funny is he uses Twitter to say they're coming here, but nothing's going to happen. Unless they come here with a different agenda, nothing's going to happen. So they don't show up. Well, what does that do? Let me tell you what happens with executives. This is what executives do. They are not going to waste their time. Donald Trump's a billionaire. He's been doing business for a long time. If you watch high-powered people, what they tell you is how much time you get. Kevin, you've got 30 seconds. Go. You think they're kidding? I've been in those meetings. When I sold IT services and management consulting services, let me tell you something. When a CEO of a multinational company lets you sit in his office, his administrative assistant has said, I'll get you on his schedule for 10 minutes. If you think you've got 11, you are out of your mind. The only way you get 11 minutes is if he's intrigued. Your presentation better be, sir, thank you for taking the time. Boom. And you hit it. And it probably, honestly, by the 45-second mark, you better be on point. Because a 10-minute meeting can turn into a 2-minute meeting quick. So what Donald Trump does is you could say, well, he's got administrative assistants. He does, but he's not using them for that. He's using Twitter as his administrative assistant. If you're coming here with an agenda that differs from this, I don't have time for you. So when Pelosi and Schumer go, well, we're not going to show up. Great. You just gave me back some time. So now I get to work on other things, and I've got plenty to work on because you know what? I inherited a mess. It's funny that Donald Trump, he knows what he's gotten into, and he is yet to utter, other than saying Barack Obama left a mess, but I'm cleaning it up. The implication is always I'm cleaning it up. With Barack Obama, it was they left a mess. What do you expect me to do? Think about the difference in that mentality. Donald Trump's going, I got a mess, but that's why he's gone. That's why I'm here. I'm cleaning it up. I'm cleaning up trade. I'm cleaning up immigration. I'm cleaning up refugee resettlement. I'm cleaning up the idea of you being safe in America. I'm cleaning up creating real jobs, not BS phony numbers jobs. I'm cleaning up bringing companies back here that want to, believe in American ingenuity. I'm cleaning it up. I'm not complaining about it. That's what I do. I love it. I think about it this way. When Donald Trump goes to the White House at night, when he's resting in his bed, he's thinking to himself, I can't wait to get up in the morning and tackle my next set of issues. But let me tell you, Barack Obama was the most scared dude on the planet when he sat in that room, wherever he slept. And, Michelle probably slept in another room with a Secret Service agent. But wherever Barack Obama was, let me tell you, he was nervous. He dreaded getting up. He dreaded doing anything that was going to impact the economy because he didn't know what was going to happen. Trump is as certain about what is going to happen in this economy as you could possibly be. Whether you like it or not, I'm talking about leftists. Whether they like it or not, he knows where it's going. And you want to know why? He's already getting it there. So here's what Chuck Schumer says. It's time to stop tweeting and start leading. This from a guy who just watched the worst presidency in the history of America and then watched the best first year president in his life. Chuck Schumer just did. So did you. So did the rest of America. And so did the world. And so you've got Chuck Schumer saying he needs to quit tweeting and start leading. Because you know what he's telling you? His tweeting is leading. That's what you know the logic. I'm not going to take you through it. Chuck Schumer's telling you what Trump is doing in his tweet. So anyway, President Trump went to lunch with the GOP senators at the Capitol and declared it a love fest. Oh my goodness. They're unifying. What Donald Trump has been able to do is he's taken a bunch of naysayers, Jeff Flake, Corker, all of them, all these rhinos, and he's saying to them, you eventually are going to follow me whether you like it or not. And I want to recap what's happened. Corker's leaving, but he's still on board. Flake is leaving, but he's still on board. What's happened since then? CNN's in the tank, media's in triage, so he doesn't have to worry about them. They can say whatever they want. He can deflect on them. He's even gone international on CNN. They're exporting nonsense. This is what they do. He's not just beating up CNN domestically. He's beating them up internationally. Don't pay attention to them. Do you think the international media cares more about what CNN does or more about what Donald Trump does? I'll ask you the question that way. What do you think is going to happen? Somebody is going to fill the void that when CNN's declared nonsense overseas, that you can't believe them anywhere in the world. Watch what happens. ESPN just laid off 150 people, 2% of their workforce. You think that was by accident? Look, the stock market is going through the roof. Companies are just, it's a bullish market. But everything that Donald Trump says is negative, is struggling. Even the stocks while the stock market booms, you look at what the people, Target had a good report, but they're retail and that's what they're supposed to do. But look at the ones that Donald Trump went after that aren't involved. They're in retail because even Starbucks is. But they didn't get the boost that they would have gotten. But look at the ones that aren't related to that. ESPN, CNN, Disney, whatever. All hit. In a booming market. ESPN is laying off. I could go on. So the Republicans see the writing on the wall. Either you're going to work for the American people and you're going to pass the Trump agenda and you're going to get rid of this nonsense of thinking that there's some muscle memory left for Barack Obama, or you're going to get bulldozed. And I love it. I am so excited going into a year. As we're looking at the Christmas vacation time and New Year's, I haven't been this excited to go into a new year in more than a decade. And maybe many of you will say the same thing. You're watching politics realign. And now, if I said to you that Donald Trump will have politics cleaned up in his first term, no way. He'll have it to where it's more visible and transparent, and then the sneaky stuff will happen again, and we got to get another person in 2024 who's going to be just like him, because it will be easy to go back. But I want you to understand everything that's been uncovered by Trump, and we're really going to get into it in the next hour when we talk about the CFPB. You won't believe what these people have done. But the takeaway here is, party line, 12 to 11 vote, the Senate Budget Committee advanced the tax measure to the full Senate, including wavering Republicans who went with Trump. Now it goes to the full Senate. Trump will get his tax plan. Just watch.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. So CNN has decided it is going to skip the White House Christmas. Who cares? Is that really news? It is, kind of. They're butthurt. They are. They're hurt. The president has gone after him. I said in the previous hour, he's gone after him not only domestically, he's gone after him internationally. That's what you do to terrorists. He is protecting us from CNN domestically and internationally. And now, we're not coming to the White House party. I tweeted to Sarah Sanders. I said, hey, the Tea Party community will come. We'll be your media outlet. Because here's what I will tell you. The Tea Party Community.com, if you want to go .org, go to .org. TeaPartyCommunity.org. We are fair in our assessment of the news. when the Republicans screw up, let me tell you this. How many Republicans have we gotten after? We've gone after so-called conservatives. Bill Kristol. I've been beating Ben Shapiro over the head every time this guy comes out with something. He's anti-Trump this. I forget this guy. Ran into him in Denver at a Steamboat Institute event, and he's a Guy Benson. Guy Benson hates Donald Trump, hates him. And I watched him do an interview on Fox News, maybe it was Fox Business, and I started tweeting, what analysis did you that was a drug-induced analysis. These are young, up-and-coming conservatives that don't like Trump. I've gone after all of them. And a guy named, I think his name's, what's Ben's last name? It's not Shapiro, another Ben. He's an anti-Trumper. No matter what Trump does, he finds fault. I mean, the stock market's through the roof. Yeah, so what? He freed those black guys. Then he bragged about it. Yeah. I mean, it's always something. I'm sick of them. See, those are just as big of frauds. Those guys, our theme for today is identity theft. They are identity thieves. They want you to believe they are conservatives. Look, I don't mind. Ben Shapiro's an amazing kid. When he goes on the campuses, he spits out all the right stuff. But when it comes time to backing it up, to saying, you know what? No matter, I don't have to agree with Trump's style, but I doggone sure believe in his results. He doesn't have the guts. I know there are a lot of people that like this guy. He's got his new website. From what I've been told, egomaniac beyond belief. Told a friend of mine, for me to even start talking about writing for you, it's $300,000. What? Really? Do you write in gold leaf? What do you write in? Because I'm going to take it and wring it out and get the gold. Because there's no way I'd pay this guy $300,000 for something like that. But he's full of himself. See, people like that believe their press. A lot of the people that I'm talking about, they're up-and-comers. People have been, blowing smoke up their behinds for the better part of 3-4 years, and they think they're big stuff. Let me tell you something. A humbling is due. A humbling is due. I wasn't a dyed-in-the-wool Trump guy. Admittedly, now I have a kind of an excuse because I didn't declare early because I felt like it wasn't my responsibility. And I'm no journalist, but I just felt like I wanted people to make up their own mind. People would ask me, Kevin, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I'm not going to tell you. I said, but here's what I will do. I'll give you my assessment. And I did. I gave assessments across the board, good and bad. Good things about Cruz, bad things about Cruz. Good thing about Rand Paul, bad things about Rand Paul. Two guys I knew pretty well. Good things about Ben Carson, bad things about Ben Carson. I know Ben Carson pretty well. And I went down the list of things that were good and bad or whatever. And at the end of the day, I said, whoever wins, including that chick, Lindsey Graham, I'll support him. And Donald Trump won. And then I started looking at him critically. Can he carry it? Will he carry it? Why will he? Yeah. And I came to the conclusion relatively quickly that he could win. And I said, the reason why he can win is he doesn't give a crap what people say about him. And he's flawed. And I said this years ago. I told people, I said, the candidate that's going to be the best for the conservative movement, that will do the best to move the conservative movement forward, is not going to look like he's some amazing guy. I used to like Senator John Thune, and now I can't stand him. Biggest rhino on the planet, but he looked good. So if all we wanted was politics that looked good, John Thune's an amazing guy, but he wouldn't run. I was with him in St. Louis at a donut shop where he came, and I said, something's up with John Thune. He's too good looking of a candidate. He's a better looking Kennedy than John Kennedy. And that's what he looks like, a Kennedy. And he wouldn't run. He says, I'm never running. I don't know what's in his closet, but I'm glad he didn't, because I wanted a guy who looked like the everyday dude. Donald Trump, billionaire that doesn't act like a billionaire, but knows how to live like one and knows how to make you feel like you can do it too. We needed a flawed candidate, divorced, in his case twice. But then what's he do? He goes and marries a trophy wife. And they have a baby. And he's got these great kids. And he's, and you look at his family, you look at how he does things, and it's unorthodox, but it works. And he's a hard worker, tireless worker. But what he was going to do, he's going to fight for you. He was going to fight for the identity of this country. And that's what made me most proud. If people scoffed at his first Make America Great Again, MAGA. They were like, ooh, look at that. It's so stupid. It's like, yeah, kind of like what? Change we can believe in? Because it let people pick. Barack Obama's little slogan let people pick what it meant. Change we can believe in. Change from Bush. Change to the better. Change. Nobody thought change is negative. I mean, we knew it. We knew it was going to be negative, but the people that liked it were like, yeah, we need a change. Yeah, that's what we need. We need some change we can believe in. And so they bought it. But Trump's was very specific. Make America great again. And how do you define that? Let the leftists figure out what they want. But you know what it did to that middle of the road group? They got it. They said, you know what? This country's going down a slippery slope. I'm seeing it every day. I'm getting accused of being a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, an Islamophobe, or whatever a phobe, and I'm sick of it. And then they went on the download campaign. I'm not telling anybody, but I'm voting for Donald Trump. And they did. Good for them. So anyway, back to CNN, skipping the Christmas party at the White House. Why? Because they've been attacked. What they should do if they had big boy pants is they'd go there and they'd face the music and they'd say, Mr. President, you know what? You're right. And we need to do a better job. The New York Times supposedly did it. Are they any better? I don't know. Washington Post. There's a big cabal against Donald Trump, and people think the media, the left think the media is going to solve it for him. They thought the media was going to drive Mueller to indict Trump for no reason. Good luck with that. They're getting their butts kicked, and rightfully so. We'll be back.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. You know what's funny to me? People are like, Obama's going on an Asian tour, and I can't believe that he's still relevant. Well, no, he's not relevant. He's a private citizen. What are you mad about? He's a private citizen who's going to China, and if the Chinese prime minister wants to spend time with a former ex-president of the United States, good for him. Go. Yeah, I don't care. I don't get why people get so upset about this. The Dow is at a record high, yet another record high. To say it's at a record high is like a broken record. Pardon the pun, but it is. It's a broken record. We always know it's going to be at an all-time high. It's about to go beyond 24,000 at some point. Get in the market. I'm not a big time stock market guy, but I got to tell you, I'm mad at myself for not having jumped in this market once Donald Trump got elected. I knew what was going to happen. I guess maybe it's probably because I didn't have a whole lot of money. But you better put some money in the market. Yeah, I've invested in gold, as you guys know. And we couldn't use our gold sponsor when we changed over to the network, my friends over at Landmark. But they're still my buddies. I buy my gold and silver from them. But I will tell you, I would love to be in the market right now. I don't know what the price of gold is. I'm going to have to go look. But I would love to be in the market. It is going through the roof. So people, well, Kevin, Obama's going to do what? Go around and go, well, I know the white guy's doing a lot better than I did, you know. And what are they going to ask him? Mr. President, how you think Donald Trump do in comparison to you? Well, you know, I mean, you know, do we have that clip? That is a great clip. I love that. I call it the Obama's explaining failure tour. That's what it is. What else can Barack Obama, what is he going to say to a world leader when they ask questions about North Korea? How do you think, you know, Donald Trump's handling North Korea? What's he going to say? I did nothing? How's the Donald Trump handling ISIS? How many ISIS things have you read about in the last month, 2 months? ISIS is on the run. Is it defeated? Absolutely not. But you know what? We got 7 more years to whoop that Muslim head. That's right. Radical Islam is on the run. There was a lady in Britain. Let me just explain Islam to you. A lady in Britain, she took a cross and she walked through an area of Britain just carrying a cross, not antagonizing anybody. Muslims converge on her. She's got security around her. They're wanting to beat her. They're calling her all kinds of stuff. And when she finally got to the point, they were throwing eggs at her, and she finally got to a part where, you know, she could stop, and they go, what was it? The filmmaker's like, what's going on here? And she says, this is Britain. You can't walk carrying any symbol of Christianity without this occurring. And this is an area of Britain that's still got a few Brits in it, but it's becoming predominantly Muslim. And you can see the what happens when you simply walk through Britain in this area carrying a cross. They yell things like, we're taking over your country. You can get out of here, yada, yada. That is what's going on. There is no such thing as moderation when it comes to these people. None. You got to see the video. It'll blow your mind. Let me tell you, there are people listening to this program. Kevin, you hate Muslims. I don't hate them at all. Not one bit. I love all mankind. But you know what I won't tolerate? I won't tolerate you saying to me, I'm going to take over and I'm going to eventually kill you, your kids, your grandkids. I will rape your daughters, your granddaughters, or whatever, and you will do nothing about it in the name of Allah. And if you think I'm going to sit back for that, and just go, well, geez, it's a kind of a radical thing, and well, let's bring in some more, and let's build some more mosque. If that makes me a bigot, a racist, an Islamophobe, so be it. I happily accept. On behalf of the millions and millions of dead Americans that would be in the future, the millions of rape victims, the millions and millions of beheadings, or wherever we're headed, I firmly accept stopping all of that. If it means that flapping my trap is going to do it. I'll do it in an instant. So what's Barack Obama, back to him, what's he going to go around the world doing? Talking about what he did to stem the scourge of Islamization of the world? He's the reason every woman in Scandinavia, every woman in Canada, United States, who is in Britain and anywhere else that has been accosted by Muslims, raped, beaten, stolen from, taken advantage of in any way, you can blame Barack Obama and his ilk. They're the reasons. If you want to look at what's happening in the United States, when you look at the level of crime and lawlessness that exists in this country to this day, look at a liberal in their eye and then spit in it, because you can blame them for it. They are the reason. They don't want to admit to it, and they want you to turn the other cheek so they can continue to do it. They want you to forget that young black men under the age of 25 are committing 50% of the crime in this country, and they don't want you to profile. They want you to be stupid about it. What's Obama going to explain? How he ushered that in? What's he got to say about the number of cops who are hunted down and killed? Has he apologized for any of that? Has he apologized for the lie that is Ferguson, Missouri, and Michael Brown and Officer Darren Wilson? Has he made restitution with the family of Darren Wilson in any way? What did he do? He's made this country more divisive, more race-centric than any time in history, and they want to give him a pass? I'm not going to do it. All Obama can do is go on a failure tour. That's all he knows. I love how they describe it. 5-day trip. During a 5-day trip, Obama will mix paid speeches with foreign leader meetings and even a town hall event for young people, the signature event that Obama became known for around the world during his presidency. Oh, wow. Another town hall. Hey, I have a question for you, Barack Obama. Hey, what do you think about Donald Trump? He seems to be doing such an amazing job, so much better than you. What do you think about the stock market in America? What do you think about the consumer confidence that's at a 17-year high? What do you think about the fact that the United States credit rating is probably going to get upped during the time of a white president? What do you think about the unemployment rate falling to practically non-existent? What do you think about his ability to save Carrier when you said he was going to need a magic wand? What do you think about GM deciding not to move their factory, Ford deciding not to move their factory? Just curious. What do you think about all the companies that are now coming back to the United States? IBM that committed 25,000 jobs. SoftBank that has now brought 5,000 jobs and promises 45,000 more and brought $5 billion new dollars into the economy. What about Alibaba, who claims it will bring 1 million new jobs into the United States? And I could go on. What do you think about all that? Well, I tell you, everybody gets it right now and then, but I mean, that's that was my economy. That's what he's going to tell you. He has no answer, no real answer, nothing you're going to really believe. Don't worry about where Obama goes. He's insignificant, folks. He's insignificant. He's been rendered, he was already a eunuch, but he's been rendered worse.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
This is my comment, and they were talking about giving Elizabeth Warren, a new name because she's so upset because she doesn't like Pocahontas. Well, how about lying thief? That would help. And poor Pocahontas, lying thief, Liz lying thief, doesn't like the teasing or
Welcome back, everybody. I wasn't sure what I wanted to cover, but I can't let Elizabeth Warren get away with what she's getting away with. And I have to tell you, Donald Trump it's uncanny what this man is able to do. And I don't know whether this is orchestrated or it's being, it's obviously everything's guided by God, but I'm saying, I don't know if Trump himself realizes that this is what he did. But when he tweets that, when he went to the Native American, the Navajo event to give the code talkers their recognition. And I have a special place in my heart for those guys. I went to school with a couple of buddies of mine that live in Arizona, and their fathers and grandfathers were Navajo code talkers. And so I didn't know what that even was until I met, my buddies, the McCabe brothers. And so I have a special place in my heart for these guys because that's how that helped us win the war. So Donald Trump goes to say to these guys, thank you for your service. And oh, by the way, versus, I don't know exactly what he said, but something about the fake Indian being Elizabeth Warren. And everybody, of course, had a conniption. But here's what's funny about it. Now she's under attack even from the left. Trevor Noah went after her on his show. I didn't get the clip, but I'll show you, but I'll read to you what he said in his comments, because I got to tell you, he went after her in a way that has to have the left a little bit scared when a guy finally says, hey, look, well, you know what? Can you give me the clip? You have it? All right, let's play it.
But you know, this whole beef between Donald Trump and Elizabeth Warren is a tricky one to process, because all the other nicknames that he uses on other people are self-explanatory, right? Like low energy Jeb. The man doesn't excite anybody. Little Marco, he looks like a little boy. Lying Ted, he says he's human, right? We see you, fish boy. But when he says Pocahontas, you might be thinking, wait, Trevor, I'm confused. Is Elizabeth Warren Native American? And you see, that's the question. Because for a long time, she said she was.
Warren came under fire in 2012 for claiming, without any proof, to have Native American heritage.
From 1986 to 1995, she listed herself as a minority in the Association of American Law Schools directory.
In fact, when Warren was a Harvard law professor, the university was criticized for not having enough diversity on the faculty, so the school defended itself by touting Warren's lineage.
Wow. How white is your college that when you get called out for being too white, your response is, nuh-uh, we got her. Yo, Elizabeth, come on out here and show these white folks what it is. Now, the way Warren tells the story is that it's been part of her family law for decades, that they have some Native American ancestry. And while listing it in the law school directory might have hypothetically helped her career, there's no hard evidence that Warren used it to get any jobs. Though it's not like she got no benefits out of it.
In 1984, Elizabeth Warren contributed recipes to a Native American cookbook called Pow Wow Chow, claiming she was Cherokee.
Wow, okay. If you're contributing recipes to a book called Pow Wow Chow, you better be comfortable in your Native American identity. The problem is, in 2012, the New England Historical Genealogical Society looked into it, and they found no proof of Warren having Native American lineage, which is problematic, because she wrote for Pow Wow Chow. I mean, that would be like finding out I'm completely white, I have no African blood, and yet I wrote the book Snacks for Blacks. Which is a bestseller, by the way. Please, go out and buy it. Go out and buy it. So, So, the question I'm struggling with is Donald Trump racist? Is Donald Trump racist? Yeah. But in his own way, he's hitting Elizabeth Warren for saying she was Native American when she wasn't. Something she's never apologized for or owned up to. And look, I mean, it's not like she's committed a crime, right? I mean, lots of white families from Oklahoma think they have some Native American blood. It's one of those things people both genuinely believe and also don't question enough. Because let's face it, being part Native American is cool, right? It's just part Native American. Like enough that you're interesting at a party, but not so much that they build a pipeline through your house. You know what I mean? Just enough. But still, like, Elizabeth Warren did something problematic, right? The kind of thing that we rightfully call each other out for every single day. So as weird as it is to say, in his own racially offensive way, Donald Trump was being woke. Yeah. And that's unfortunately the truth.
All right, everybody, welcome back. A lot to digest in that clip. First of all, I can't stand this guy. The first 3 minutes of the clip, he bashes Trump. And it's complete, it's just utter nonsense. And of course, even while he's trying to get to the point that I'm going to be making here in a second, which is what genius it is when Donald Trump uses the exact thing you have lied about against you and dares you to bring it up, and that's the bait that Elizabeth Warren took. But Trevor Noah says, we all know Donald Trump is a racist. No, we don't. That's a lie. And of course, he's got a complicit audience, giggling, and all that. But the fact of the matter is every time Trevor Noah and people like him go out and say, oh, he's a racist, I would love to somebody would say, well, Trevor, why did he free those 3 black men? That's not a very racist thing to do. But anyway, I digress. So he eventually gets to the actual crux of the matter, which is Donald Trump rightfully called out Elizabeth Warren on her lie. Now, let's stop there for just a second. What has Donald Trump been doing from the moment he came on the scene? When he said these illegal Mexicans are bringing over people that are trafficking in child porn, human trafficking, drugs, and so on. And everybody, he's racist against Mexicans. And all he said was there's a big contingent of them that are doing that. He's never said anything racist about Mexicans. Never. When he made the comment, oh, that judge, that's the Mexican judge that's going to be hearing my case, it was because the guy's a Democrat who's a Mexican, and he's going to be buying into the idea, the false narrative that I'm a racist. He was right for saying that. But the left pretend, oh, he's a racist. Trevor Noah has no evidence, not a single bit of evidence. Now, he's doing a comedy show, and it's catering to an audience that he wants to get to. Congratulations. But in the end, he ends up teaching that audience that Donald Trump didn't lie. He told the exact truth. Are they going to get it right now? No. Is there a counter to this discussion? No. There should be. I've been telling Fox, that's what you need. You need an answer to no. I'm not talking about a buffoon show. Trevor Noah is not being a buffoon. He's a funny guy that's taking political commentary, and he's doing a great job with it. That's what Fox needs. They don't need a Levin. No offense against him. But they need somebody that can do that and bring it from a conservative perspective. Now, he brought up a couple things. Elizabeth Warren, they found out that not only did she write recipes into the book Pow Wow Chow, she gave 5 recipes supposedly handed down generations from her Cherokee great-great-grandmothers and stuff. You know what they found out? 3 of those recipes are stolen recipes from another book that has nothing to do with being handed down. Now, I doubt those books were even in print when Elizabeth Warren was telling the story about these things being handed down. She submitted 5 recipes. 3 of the recipes are word for word right out of books that are written by other people that she claims are handed down. Now, he says, we don't have any proof that she's benefited from this. We absolutely have proof that Elizabeth Warren benefited. She got a job at Harvard, and he even says they touted, okay, so if she didn't benefit, the institution where she was, you trotted her out as a Native American. We have diversity, and she was the poster child for how they weren't racist. Now, if you don't think that she got some benefit out of that, there have been many instances where Elizabeth Warren claimed that she was, a minority status that benefited her, got her awards, got her recognized. To proclaim that she didn't benefit is the biggest lie. They'll talk about the false narratives around white privilege and things like that, but won't even admit the truth when they know for a fact this woman has benefited from lying because they don't have the guts to tell you the truth. Stolen identity.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177, or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Oh, we might as well finish up on fake identity, Elizabeth Warren. I've warned you guys about the left as much as I can. I'll do it until I have no show or whatever, because you have to understand how these people work. See, Elizabeth Warren couldn't get ahead as a regular white person. She's the Dolezal of Indians. Warren, like Dolezal, used other heritage in order to get ahead. And because there's no, do you think they're going to launch an investigation and get a special prosecutor like Robert Mueller to look into it? The fact of the matter is, this woman used minority status to get ahead. Whether you can tie it directly to what she's did, that it doesn't even matter. Because let me tell you something. You don't choose to be a minority unless it's to get ahead. Put another way, why would you want to be black? Why would you want to be Indian? You heard the left talk about how bad it is. Elizabeth Warren says she fights to protect these people. Why would she lie and say, I'm an Indian? Oh, I didn't know, unless it was to get ahead. There is no other logical reason. And the left want to ignore. They think you're too stupid to figure this out. I'll ask you a very simple question. Dolezal is a white chick, got nothing. When Dolezal became a sister, suddenly she's in two jobs leading one is the NAACP. The second is as a diversity person or whatever. It was like Trevor Noah's clip that said it would be like having no black blood in you, but putting a book out, Snacks for Blacks. Well, that's exactly what it was. Dolezal was not only an NAACP leader, she was a diversity coordinator to help blacks because people thought she was black. Now, for the record, I don't care what color a diversity coordinator is. I don't think we need them. But if I had a white diversity coordinator, I wouldn't care. Can you help me with whatever issue you think I need in the way of diversity? Yes, I can, Kevin. Oh, yes, I can, Kevin. I could do that for you. Okay, great. Let's get together on it. Let's go, Quachain, right? But the idea that she has done nothing is ridiculous. Of course she's done something. She's cheated her way. Yet again, we find out what these people have done, and they don't want to admit it. Stolen identity. So anyway, Fordham did a paper on her, and she's pushed back on this Harvard Crimson piece that, and I played Trevor Noah's clip earlier. I'm not going to play it again, about 3 minutes long. But it was a Harvard Crimson piece in 1996 that described her as a Native American, saying she had no idea the school where she taught law was billing her that way, and saying it never came up during her hiring a year later, which supposedly others have backed up. But in 1997, Fordham Law Review piece described her as Harvard Law School's first woman of color, based, according to the notes on the bottom of the story, on a telephone interview with Michael Chimura, news director, Harvard Law, August 6, 1996. Now, the mention was in the middle of a lengthy and heavily annotated Fordham piece on diversity and affirmative action in women. The title of the piece was written by Laura Padilla, but the title was called Intersectionality and Positionality, Situating Women of Color in an Affirmative Action Dialogue. There are few women of color who hold important decisions in the academy, Fortune 500 companies, or other prominent fields or industries, the piece says. This is not inconsequential. Diversifying these arenas, in part by adding qualified women of color to their ranks, remains important for many reasons. For one, there are scant women of color as role models. In my 3 years at Stanford Law School, there were no professors who were women of color. Harvard Law hired its first woman of color, Elizabeth Warren, in 1995. Now, Padilla, who's now at the Western School of Law, said to one of the leftist rags in an email that she doesn't remember the details of the conversation with Chimura, who's now at Babson College, and didn't respond to a request for comment. So they don't know whether the language was hers or Chimura's. But the description of Warren as a minority comes from the same person, Chimura, whose comments to the Crimson sparked the original story about Warren's heritage and and Warren's camp argued that it was old news. So in other words, they claim nobody at Harvard even knew. It didn't come up during whatever, but they did know. And you want to know how they knew? Because Elizabeth Warren touted it. She knew that was going to be a feather in her cap. I said that as I started to say that, I started laughing. It was a feather in her headdress, a feather in her cap. Oh my gosh. She said she had no idea that Harvard was billing her that way, or how the school found out that her family claims Native American heritage. And she learned of it first from the Herald story. And she said this. Forget before I get into what she said, but there's no way that she didn't know this. Anyway, the Fordham piece takes the description of Warren by Harvard Law beyond the boundaries of the Massachusetts school. Warren had described herself as a minority on a law professor's listing for several years, ending in 1995. She said she wanted to meet people like herself, but stopped when she realized that's not what the listing was for. So she's touting herself as, I'm, a Native American. And when the cake started to hit the fan, she goes, no, I took it off. Yeah. So she was pushed hard on the suggestions that she got her job based on heritage, and her backers had noted a 1995 Crimson piece from the year she was hired makes no mention of her background. But as to comment, her spokesperson, a lady named Malathia Harney, said, there's nothing new in this report. Elizabeth has been clear, and she's proud of her Native American heritage, and everyone who hired Elizabeth has been clear that she was hired because she was a great teacher, not because of that heritage. It's time to return to issues like rising student loan debt, job creation, Wall Street regulation that will have a real impact on middle-class families, etc., etc. This is when she was running against Scott Brown. So let me just put it to you in another way. They glossed over this in her run for the Senate because nobody wanted to address the 500-pound donkey in the room, that Elizabeth Warren is a bald-faced liar who committed identity theft to steal the heritage of a minority people that has been historically underrepresented and is very much underprivileged, and she stole that identity in order to get herself ahead. That's what she did. I don't know if she was so good because she get into Harvard without that, but I can practically guarantee you the reason why Elizabeth Warren got hired was because somebody said, wow, we got a Native American. And for her to want to backtrack, oh, it was just part of our old family lore. That is a lie. Go back and find. I'm just telling you, they aren't going to build a library to this woman, because if they find the places where she claimed that, where it helped her, it would be a disgrace. And it is a disgrace. But well played by President Trump. Well played. Call her out. He's been calling her out, is the Trevor Noah thing. He's been calling her out for the better part of a year. No, better part of 2 years. Calling her out. And he's doing it in such a way to say to the left, you're not going to cherry pick how you use race. You're not going to get away with this any longer. And everything this guy does has a deeper meaning that I'm telling you guys, it's reaching people at levels that you cannot explain. Elizabeth Warren came out firing back at Trump saying, well, he's, how disrespectful to the American Indian culture. You mean your fake culture? Perfect bait. See, the lesson here is how to fight the left. That's what I'm trying to teach. You cannot teach this. You use what they do against them. And that's what Donald Trump did. That's what makes this so brilliant. So they've been asking, this is what Scott Brown did back when he was running for Senate. He says, release the records related to Warren's hiring. He said he'd do the same. Because and for the record, and I've told you guys this, I'll say it, maybe this will be the last time. Elizabeth Warren's career is at it's peaked. It's going nowhere. Just like Donald Trump, when he talks about the NFL, when he talks about ESPN, when he talks about CNN, you're watching the stock drop. Sell it short. Elizabeth Warren is done. They did everything they could to elevate her because they wanted her to be on the ticket with Hillary Clinton. The reason why she isn't is exactly what we're talking about today. They could not have two women embroiled in controversy, and they have nobody else because they're all fakes and frauds. They're identity thieves, and they will steal your soul the same way they've attempted to steal the soul of this great country. Glad you guys were with me today. We'll be back again. Take care.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.